Okay, so it's 7:05, so let's start. And good evening, everyone, and welcome to another session of Data Masters, brought to you by Data Engineering Pilipinas. I'm Josh. I'm one of your hosts for tonight's session. So, for those who are new in this session, Data Masters is a community-driven initiative by Data Engineering Pilipinas that brings together a dedicated group of individuals. Here, we share our passion for honoring or for honing project presentations, interview skills, and knowledge sharing in a fully supportive and collaborative environment. We cover various topics from data engineering, analytics, AI, and other related fields. Jomai?
Good evening, everyone. I'm your co-host for tonight, Jomai. And before we get started, just a few quick reminders. So first is please feel free to drop any questions anytime in the chat, and we'll have a dedicated Q&A portion later. And then second is that this session is also being recorded, so you can watch a replay later in our dev channels. Okay, and we also have some of our dev volunteers here with us tonight, and they'll be helping manage our chats throughout the session. All right, I think we're all set, and let's move on to the main event.
Awesome. Our speaker for tonight's session, so that's going to be Nina Kumiya. She's a data engineering and analytics lead with more than 8 years of experience in data engineering across various frameworks from Snowflake, AWS, Python, and SQL. She is also one of our DAP community moderators, and she's an inspiration to women in tech. So let's give a warm virtual welcome to Miss Nina Kumiya. So take it away, Nina.
Thanks, Josh, and thanks, Jomai. Thanks, everybody, for attending our session. So, I just wanted to share this recent framework that we've built with the help of one of our founder, actually, our founder, Sir Mike. So, during that time kasi, no, I wanted to create a data governance framework for our company, eCloud Valley. So, syempre, as someone who is in practice, ako yung tipo kasi ng tao na I'd like to make solutions for, of course, our clients. Pero I want also the solution or the framework to be created and verified by with experts across the field. So ito, nag-scrub na ako ng information related to the company, but I'll just siguro share with you guys the overview na lang. But anyway, sige, I'll go start now. So yung data governance kasi, this is most of the time um, yung parang na-overlook natin as data practitioners, di ba? Aminin natin yon. We're all about data. We wanted to know the insights. We wanted to predict, describe, do AI, create pipelines, etc. Pero, what happens kapag dumami na yon? What happens when there is already an increase in the cost? Tsaka lang natin marirealize na, oh, nasa na yung data dictionary nito? Bakit dala-dalawa yung data marts natin? Parehas lang naman ng function. Oh, bakit ganito ang taas-taas ng billing natin? Bakit ang dami nating ini-store na data, 'di ba? So nagkakaroon na tayo ng problem because of those. So now, I'd like to share with you this data governance framework. I believe this is also discussed before by Secretary JP from USEC. Secretary USEC JP from the SWD before. So if you remember it. And para doon sa mga umattend nung eHeads event before sa Google, he also mentioned this. So anyway, I'll just give you exactly, well, not really exactly, but almost the same framework that he had applied in the SWD. Yeah, let's go ahead. So data governance will help you with the right people, the right process, so that your organization gets more value from data and definitely less risk. Yan. So, what is data governance ba muna? Kasi kadalasan, ito yung problem eh. Akala natin kapag governance, di ba? It's about anything else na may kinalaman sa listahan na ating data. But actually, governance is a process. It's a process with the roles and responsibilities that an organization uses to handle its data and anything built from it. No, so basically, this is the most human side of a data program. So this does not only talk about um, what is the data pipeline, what is the dashboard all about, etc. But it's more on what is the process or the agreed way of the people to get things done every time multiplied by their roles and responsibilities. Sino ba yung accountable and for what is it? Tapos in this way, kapag na-identify natin sila, more people will trust the data or yeah, the data people will be will trust this process, no? So, mas madami kayong magagawa and there will be less risk in terms of compliance then. Now, there are 4 questions that you need to ask yourself, especially when you are doing any kind of data. So, number 1, who? Sino ba ang accountable dito? And who does the work? Second is what? Ano ba yung agreed standard or process for the task? Should it be compliant to the Data Privacy Act? Should it be compliant to BSP regulations, etc.? So, ano yung standards or processes natin for this? Then where? Which domain or system or stage does the rule apply to? And then when? Do we trigger this on load, on access, on change, or always, as in from the very beginning of the pipeline until the end. So the aim behind all 4 is get more out of the data, di ba? And again, less risk. So this is what basically the governance framework is at a glance. So 4 layers. Take note that stewardship is the spine, and this particular framework or platform is tech agnostic. So bakit? Kasi kahit naman saan mo ilagay yan, whether it's in Microsoft Azure, in Snowflake, AWS, or let's say GCP, this should be somehow the framework that we have. No, so you have your data estate, your governance controls, the stewardship, consumption, and oversight. So data estate, of course, you have the source systems, external and partner data, the documents, contents, warehouse, or lakehouse. And then for governance controls, you have the catalog and metadata, data quality, data monitoring, privacy and protection, access, mask, and lineage. Then definitely yung spine natin, yung policies and standards. So ano ba yung dapat na sinusunod natin dito? Roles and ownership, approvals and workflows, and then saan siya naka-base? Is it based on the DAMA DMBOK or is it based on the Data Privacy Act or is it in the GDPR, HIPAA, whatsoever, kung ano man po yung policy na yon. And then, consumption and oversight, is it a self-service data product? Is it a governance dashboard, audit and monitoring? And then, of course, your compliance reporting. If you will look at it, no, parang ang dami niyang what do you call this? Yung parang manual, thing that you have to do or there's a lot of documentation. Kaya nga ito yung sinasabi natin na most human-centric kasi mahirap siyang i-automate. And actually, especially when you're starting from the beginning, no, yung pagko-collate pala ng mga information, that's something na siguro hindi natin basta-basta ma-automate. Okay. Now, this is your roles and responsibilities. So you have 4 people here. You have the data owner, the data steward, the data custodian, and the governance council. So the owner is the one accountable. He or she owns the domain, sets the policy, and signs off on use. Diba? So, and then you have the data steward, which is responsible for definitions, quality, and classification. Most of the time, sila yung gumagawa ng metadata or yung data dictionary. And then you have the data custodian. So, they are the ones who builds and runs the controls, usually the data engineering team or the IT. And then, of course, your governance council. So, ito po ay group of stakeholders that sets direction and standards, settles disputes, rather. So, ano yung activity nila? This is the activities for the owner, steward, custodian, and council. So A is for accountable, R is for responsible, C is consulted, and I is informed. So ito po yun. Okay. Now, how does governance run? So it's actually a loop. Hindi siya pwede ng one time, big time. Tapos pag nagawa natin yung governance is okay na. Meron na tayong matatawag na governance. It's actually a loop because number one, you have to define it. Second, classify it. Third is control. Fourth is monitor. And fifth is improve. And then, when there's a new pipeline, there's a new source, there's a new dashboard, definitely you have to define, classify, control, monitor, improve. And it goes back kahit magkaroon kayo ng AI. Okay, so the loop repeats. Governance is actually a habit, and I would even say it's a lifestyle, and it's not a project with an end date. Kasi every now and then, as we have more and more technology, syempre, mas dadami yung policies and standards natin, and definitely yung compliance. This also aims not to only make it more manageable, but again, it's less risks. Yan, so this particular framework is actually built on DAMA DMBOK and finished by the operating model. So DMBOK tells you what to govern. So you have here your data quality, metadata, data security, privacy, data architecture, modeling and design, storage, integration, etc. It is a solid list of knowledge areas. What it does not tell you is how to run it day to day. And to be honest, mahirap siya. The process and the roles behind each area. That is the gap this framework fills, and it turns a reference list into something a team can actually follow. Yeah. So Dama book is an industry standard, and this one is also partnered, or the same model covers AI. No, so this AI model lines up with the NIST AI risk management framework, which are govern, map, measure, and manage, and ISO IEC 42001, or the world's first standard for AI management system. Governance that stretches from data to the models. So ito po yun. So if you have a new asset, you have to add a new control because we know that there are new risks, and definitely someone has to be accountable. Hindi siya pwede, no, nagawa na namin yan, ayaw na namin dyan. It doesn't work that way. If you created that particular model, if you have created that particular AI agent, then you are responsible and accountable to it. Ayan. So, definitely, how do we do this? Ito yung lagi sa amin tinatanong eh. Since this is the most human-centric part of our data life cycle, or how would I say it? You have to know where your company stands. Diba? So, there should be some sort of assessment. Now, the assessment depends on what particular goal you would like to have or you would like to apply. So, unang-una is, let's say, um, this is the area of, let's say, of the company. Sample lang po pala to ha, by the way. So, you have the governance organization, you have the meta, data, and catalog. Let's say, ano ba kayo ng data quality? Do you have security and privacy? And do you have an AI governance in place, diba? So if your company has an idea, then definitely they would be part of the initial. If they can manage, it's number two. If you have well-defined structured or policies for this one, then three. And then if you are quantifying it, definitely it's a 4. And then fifth is optimized. No, ibig sabihin, mas nakokontrol nyo na siya and you know already the drill by heart. So most of the organization starts at 1 or 2 kasi may idea naman sila pero hindi pa nila nagagawa, or yung iba naman unti-unti na manage. Kasi if I'm not mistaken, and I hope that most of you are implying or you're doing data quality checking, Tapos syempre nagma-masking kayo, I hope so. And of course, you have your metadata and catalog. So madalas naman yan nama-manage yan eh. Pero kapag hindi pa siya fully defined, then syempre hindi pa siya tataas at number 3. So ang target natin with the data governance framework is to reach at least number 4, wherein you can quantify it. Hindi lang siya describable. Pag tinanong ilan ang tables mo sa database, then you can definitely answer. How many owners do you have? How many policies can you name? Diba? So that's the meaning of quantifiable. Okay? Yeah. Now, how the organization is set up. So, of course, for the enterprise, someone has to set a direction. So, dapat yan, may executive sponsor kayo. Hindi siya madali kasi kung ang nakakaisip lang nito is junior data engineer. Someone higher or someone with the power should be doing the sponsorship. So that's probably your chief data officer or chief privacy officer, and then you have the data governance council. Tapos yung domains nyo would be your, let's say, your finance, your not accounting, but finance, and then probably human resources, and then your IT, di ba? Then, of course, your data product owners, then your stewards. Tapos, yung support and assurance, would be the custodians platform, your privacy, DPO, and then AI governance board. And of course, not to leave audit. So, one set of standards enforced automatically with ownership pushed out to the teams who actually know the data. So, eto naman, it's federated and not centralized. No? A central team writing every rule for every domain does not scale and slow everyone down. It should not. Central sets the standards. Domains own their data. And then hopefully this is the roadmap that you can do if you wanted to implement data governance in your company. Of course, you have to assess the maturity of your company. Nasaan na ba kayo ngayon? Ano na ba yung mga ini-implement nyo? What are the risks? So if you have, let's say, studied the Data Privacy Act, or sino ba yung, baka may mga DPO na dito, no? You are hopefully aware of the privacy risk assessment, no? Or privacy information assessment, ganyan. And then number 2 would be your foundation. So what are the operating model, policies, and glossaries? And then 3, implement controls in code, domain by domain. Then optimize KPI quality scorecards, issue handling, and then of course your final would be your AI governance, model catalog, lineage, and monitoring. Guys, I would really suggest that before you go with AI, you should be able to govern already your data. At the very least, you know what data you have in your system. So, and dito yung mga quick win naman natin. So, at least, di ba, you have, if you are able to assess, at least you have the inventory. Ilang rows, ilang gigabyte yung tables nyo, ano yung laman nila, etc. And then for the quick win, you have the first certified dataset. For number 3, PII masking is automated. Ba? Nade-detect ba? And then for optimize, do you have the data marketplace pilot? And then for AI governance, you have the first model governed. Yeah. And then how you measure it, di ba? Etong mga values na to, these are just examples. So first is you set a baseline, then track the same numbers over time. So example, yung unang assessment nyo, you only have 20% covered or 20% critical data classified. And then when you get back to assess your data, at least 90% na sana yung covered, di ba? And then data quality pass rate, before siguro nag-start kayo ng assessment, 70%. So that's your baseline. Hopefully, by the time you do again your assessment, it would be 98%. And then time to get access, sana, dati siguro baka 10 days, no? Ang dami yung dadaanan na approval. And hopefully, it will become 1 day. Certified data products from 0 to 25. Open data incidents, your baseline number to minus 60%. And models under governance, if before 0, sana maging 100%. No? So these are 6 numbers, each with a starting point and target. No? But take note again that these are illustrative. So this slide is what turns the value story from a claim into something checkable or something that you can validate. So you start with the people muna and process. So pick one priority domain and agree with the roles and decision rights. Run the full cycle once, define, classify, control, monitor, and improve, then scale it out. Choose the tools last and keep them replaceable. Please take note ha, hindi required na mag-stick kayo sa isang tool, but it should somehow or at least if you're choosing a tool, it should somehow allow you to be more flexible. Tsaka, ano ba? Mm, just keep, allow you to scale up. Yeah. Kasi nga, mabilis magbago ang ating technology. So, I guess that's the end of the presentation. But I'd like to show you what we did in eCloud Valley. In terms of governance. So, I will not be able to teach you how to do it kasi unang-una talagang kailangan nyo siya ng assessment, no? But I hope this gives you an idea on how we do it. Wait lang, let me share again my screen. And so, kita nyo ba yung, sorry, ano nakikita nyo ngayon? Ayan.
Naka-black siya right now, Nina.
Naka-black?
Oo.
Hindi kita yung ano, yung, tanga, sorry na. Bakit may nakikita ko sa side ko?
Or baka ako lang. Kayo ba guys? Sorry.
Guys, let us know ha kung may nakikita kayo or wala. Pakita ko yung Chrome ko. So, dapat may nakikita kayo sa ngayon.
Visible daw. Ay, may iba wala.
Sige. Sorry do sa mga wala. Hindi daw po kayo part ng club. Sorry.
Nag-apply na ba yung DataGov? Na-sensor na siya.
Na-sensor na yun. So, sige. Just to let you know, this one is a project. Ito, sige. This is, hindi ko na to i-run ulit kasi ito ay parang agent, AI agent siya that we created with Snowflake as part of our program champions or yung Snowflake partner champions, no? So, every time kasi na may matatapos kaming isang module, we are actually required to create something that will help the company. So, for this one, we created the eCloud Valley governance chatbot. So, niran ko na siya kanina, hindi ko na siya i-run ulit. Pero, eto siya. So, what I wanted to do is audit the governance of the eCloud Valley governance demo raw table or database to and give me the scorecard. So, you can actually do this as well with your, how would I say it, with your Snowflake account if you have, no? So, si Coco yung ginamit namin dito. So, may mga ginawa lang kami na, let's say, assessment. So, I gave them the rules of what to assess, what to look for, and paano siya i-scorean. So, ito, sa akin, ako naglagay nito, by the way, ha, yung score, yung weight, and then how it is being measured. It depends po dun sa magiging baseline nyo, tsaka yung magiging policies and procedures ng inyong company. So, that's why I meant na, that's what I meant with dapat pinag-uusapan nyo to as a team. So, ito yung nakuha namin. So, sabi lang niya dito, so this is the governance audit for eCloud Valley Governance Demo.raw. Overall score, 48.8/100. Maturity level at risk. Ayan. So, by the way, ito ay demo lang to. So, we wanted to see kasi if our agent will be able to detect the risks that we have in the database. So, total findings, nagbilang siya, 35 daw, 8 ang critical, 7 ang high, 20 medium. So, top risk area, metadata, completeness. Ayan. So, ano yon? Masking policy and so may ownership and stewardship, sensitive data classification, naming standards. So, di ba wala kami naming standards? And then access governance. So, yung critical findings nila is I have a lot of unmasked PII columns, or a masking policy. So, ang gusto ko lang dito kasi sa Snowflake, we are able to ask Coco to also create an SQL on how to correct it. I'm not sure with other agentic AI, but ito kasi yung na-try namin sa kanya. So, dahil nakita niya na there are several unmasked PII columns, yan, so it gives us the SQL to correct it. Ngayon, paano po pag gusto ko tong i-correct? Then just simply run this particular command. Make sure muna, make sure that you read it and then run it. Ngayon, if you're starting with the data governance, let's say from scratch, di ba? Gumagawa kayo ng pipeline. Once you already have the policies and procedures, then before creating that particular table, dapat identify nyo na kung meron kayong PII mga na data doon, and then you apply it during the creation of the table. Kasi kung mapapansin nyo, SQL na to, alter na to eh. Diba? So, dapat, onset pa lang, if you already have the policies and standards, when you create the table, you just simply change this. So, create table, ganyan, demo row, customer master, and then, make sure that you set the masking policy for that particular item. For this one, you have email address, full name, home address, phone number, and then national ID. Ito nga national ID, dapat to ano to eh, pang SPI. Kasi hindi siya basta lang PII, it's an SPI. Ayan. Diba? O dito nga, ang mali pa yung pagkakalagay ko ng sensitive data. Dapat ang sensitive data is itong national ID. Again you have to read the Data Privacy Act so that you will be able to identify which are sensitive data and which are not sensitive data. Yeah. Tapos, you also have here high findings and ganun din. So, missing table comments. Ayan. So, for metadata completeness, di ba? Yan, hindi kasi naglalagay ng comments for the table. And then you have the data owner. So, hindi kayo naglagay. And then, hindi nyo rin nilagay yung data steward. And then, finally, dun sa medium findings, you will have here, missing column comments. Kasi ang gusto nga natin is makompleto yung metadata. Yeah. So, you have here also the suggested priority, etc. You can start with. Tapos, meron din kami dito sa part na to yung top 10 most expensive queries because most of the time, data governance is applied kapag tumataas na yung expenses nyo. So, dito, top 10 queries by credit consumption. So, ako may kasalanan po niyan, no? Kasi nagtetest ako niyan kanina. So, key observations, cost is repetition, not size. So, combine the 10 queries. Yeah, so, meron na siya nakalagay din dyan. And then, of course, yan, so may ginagawa kasi kami kanina. And then, you also have their suggestions on how to do it and what not to do. And finally, top 10 critical governance findings with account solutions. Ayan. So, 63 schemas scanned. This is for the whole account of our Snowflake. So, we have 8,275 total findings, no? Kasi ginagamit namin tong account na to for demo purposes talaga siya. So, hindi kami masyadong critical when it comes to the data that we put here. So, pagpasensyahan na po. But definitely, please don't do this kapag sa client, no? Kasi nga, ang gusto natin mangyari is we perform governance here. Yan, so diba? And most of the time dito ay demo talaga to. Data governance ba yan? Yung DG. Yan, DG, tapos ito yung ECV. So, yan talaga yun. And then, there's also another thing that we did here in Snowflake pa rin. So, dito, we are able to create a data governance dashboard naman using Streamlit. No? So, kung ayaw nyo ng AI, diba? Kasi sabihin natin na yung AI is masyadong magastos. Kasi definitely it will consume your credits. You can also create a Streamlit dashboard. Ito naman, puro functions na yung ginamit namin dito. Pero, ang downside lang nun, syempre, hindi siya basta magbibigay ng suggestions niya, not unless you program it for you or for it to create or give you at least the findings and the remediation. Sorry, I think natulog na yung aking ano. Ah, let me just restart it. Natulog siya. Ayan. So, I have here the data governance. So, medyo matagal siya kasi i-recompute niya yun or i-run niya yung mga functions. But basically, you will have here the top remediation SQL, which is account-wide. What are its findings? And then the overview. So, it's possible na magagawa niyo rin siya sa mga databases niyo. Nagkataon lang, ito, ginawa namin siya sa Snowflake kasi nga, it's part of our Snowflake Partner Championship. And then you also have here the performance optimization, still under Streamlit, and then of course the cost intelligence. Kasi nga, dapat at least, di ba? Alam niyo kung ano yung nangyayari dito. Ayun. So, I guess, sige, tapusin lang natin siya and then let's see. Ayan. So, this is the data governance audit for the whole account. Ganun din naman, no? We will see here the target, severity, target, and then findings. Tapos, ano yung remediation, SQL. Ayan siya. So, yun lang. I guess that would be all on my end. So, please let me know if you have any questions. I'll be more than happy to answer it while I can.
Ayun. Thank you so much, Nina. Very insightful and informative. Yeah, so we'll now open the floor for questions, and you can raise your hand or type them in the chat, and we can go through them one by one. So we have here Sabini Pepito is data governance is really more of what's the business data set, problems, and milestones at hand. It will vary from use case to use case. So
Yes, agree. Tama yun. Kaya hindi ako pwede sabihin na, oh, ganito gagawin nyo ha. Hindi pwede. We have the Data Privacy Act for you to be able to identify what needs to be protected and ano yung mga compliance na need natin. So that's our, kumbaga, aside from the DAMA, DM book of knowledge, no? We also have there our policies and our laws to guide you. So, kunyari, nasa finance, let's say nasa banking institution kayo, so definitely there would be some sort of different items that you need to comply with regards to BSP. Tapos let's say nasa healthcare kayo, ganun din, may iba pa rin kayong kailangan sundin na compliance. So, it's not a one size fits all. Pero, definitely, if you are going to opt for DM or the DAMA DM book, meron naman na talaga identified. Pero again, it will vary depending on the country and which laws we need to comply with. Kasi baka may kailangang itagdag pa. There.
Nina, I have a question. Siguro quickly lang. So what Coco did your demo is ang naging input mo muna doon is meron na kayong initial na policy na create based on the processes that you have or parang sa mga data gov policies na na-create nyo. And using that set of policies, pinid nyo siya kay Coco. Then, si Coco na yung nag-run dun sa existing catalog na yon to check for these checks if na-meet ba siya or hindi. Tama ba?
Oo, parang ganun yung nangyari. So, what we did is we
Mm.
talk to a lot of people. Kailangan namin ma-identify ano ba yung dapat na sinusunod natin na policies and procedures, what's important, what is not. Tapos ano ba yung mga gusto nating ma-catch na issues and concerns, di ba? Kasi again, it depends really on the goal of the business. So meron
Right.
kasi sa amin ng mga clients na lumalapit because they wanted to manage their data. May ganon. Meron naman na clients na lumalapit because they're accumulating a lot of costs. So again, it depends on what we want to achieve at the end of the day.
Interesting. Gandang use case yan sa AI. Kasi data gov, it's really tedious, no? Sobrang daming processes na kailangan mong gawin. And of course, iisa-isahin mo talaga yung bawat tables. So, yeah, ganda ng application ng ni Coco dun sa sa DataGov.
Yes, oo. Tapos ito nagkataon lang na si Coco yung pinili namin kasi parang, without any bias 'no. So,
Mm.
kasi parang ano na siya, eh, it started Snowflake started as a data warehouse,
Yeah.
let's say, 'di ba? Tapos isang product lang naman siya eventually na in-improve nila ng in-improve. Unlike
Right.
nung mga mga ibang, let's say provider na parang ginawa nilang Lego blocks na, "Oh, meron na kaming data warehouse, ay kailangan pala natin ng isang PII identifier." So, they just created another tool na para magko-complement dun sa data warehouse. So, ganun yung nangyari. Pero si Snowflake kasi, ang ginawa nila is they improved it based on what data warehouses need. Kaya para sa'min nung sinusubukan namin talaga yung data governance, easiest was Snowflake.
Right. Si Sandy here may question sa GC. So, what if the CEO only listens to risk if something breaks? So parang sinasabi siguro is more on ano lang siya, parang ang tawag dun, reactive lang yung approach. Tapos, in this presentation, risk means unmasked PII only based on Data Privacy Act or maybe penalty money loss. How can we define risk in terms of money that the CEO will understand? So, yeah, at the very top level siguro. So how do we make them realize the importance of data gov?
That's actually a very interesting question 'no, kasi siguro yung pinakamadali talaga is para hindi kayo makasuhan. I mean,
Yeah,
kasi, aside from the loss of money because of non-compliance 'no, actually ngayon ko lang din nalaman na possible pala makulong yung mga
right.
yung mga
DPOs,
tao yeah, actually hindi naman yung DPO kasi yung DPO taga-ano lang siya, eh, parang part siya ng
implementer. Ay, sorry, hindi.
taga-implement lang siya,
Oo,
yes. If it's a corporation, slap ka lang din naman ng fine. Ngayon, if there's really a criminal liability, tsaka ka pa lang siya makukulong. So, maximum kulong ata is 7 years, eh, 'di ba? Tapos yung maximum na penalty is 7 million, parang gano'n. So, siyempre 'di ba, it's better to comply, rather than be slapped with fines.
right.
Tapos, of course, aside from that particular risk, nandun pa rin yung pagpaulit-ulit or sobrang dami mong data dahil wala kang retention, policy, tapos doble-doble yung or you have so many duplicate data marts, it will also consume yung storage, 'di ba? So, tataas and then there would be a lot of processing needed. Kaya parang sa'kin, just do it right. I think if you will talk about money to CEOs or to the C-levels, they would quickly understand it. Mas madali nila naiintindihan yan kaysa sabihin mo na, yung PII po natin kailangan naka-mask.
Yeah,
I think so, yeah. If you speak to them in business terms or in money, they will immediately understand it.
agree. And money in this case is penalties. So,
Yeah, oo.
um, of course, potential closure ng business due to these violations. So, another follow-up question from Miss Sandy here is, what if the governance issue is non-compliance with standard currencies? They sometimes switch from peso to USD to peso to USD again. Tapos, what if PII is not an issue but compliance? Maybe Miss Sandy, can you share more? Parang may pinanghugutan ka pa eh. So parang could you share like more background siguro para at least mas makita natin yung ano yung hugot ni
Oo.
Miss Sandy dito.
Yes, please.
And of course, everyone feel free to ask questions if meron pa kayo. Para magandang topic yung data gov kasi it's something that's so foundational. As mentioned by Dina, it's often neglected. Pero ito talaga yung foundation ng lahat ng mga domains within the data management ecosystem. So, yan. Ayan. So, how can we frame in money terms? Um, in money terms, what will they lose with non-compliance? So, yun nga, as mentioned by Nina din earlier, it's more on the penalties, no? So, yan. So, comply.
For non-PII,
Mm,
ano yung mawawalang money?
yeah,
Yung storage niyo. Kasi the more data you store, it means it consumes, money pa rin. Wala kayong retention policy because retention is part of governance. So what do you do with your data, 'di ba, after you use it? Do you just keep it or you put it somewhere or you destroy it? So gano'n, if you keep on using your data, if you just keep on storing your data sa database nyo, yung 1 GB, it will become 2 GB, and then suddenly it will become 1 TB, 'di ba? And then macha-charge na kayo nun monthly for 1 TB.
Right. Siguro follow-up question ko dun, Nina.
And daw, not retention, the issue is non-compliance. So, Miss Sandy, paanong non-compliance? Because, is it based on the Data Protection Act? I need a more specific answer for this. Kasi even in Data Protection Act, there is retention policy. So, if you say that you will only collect the data or process the data for 1 year, then definitely you have to destroy it after 1 year. Not based on Data Protection Act. They sometimes switch from peso to USD to peso to USD again. I'm not kind of getting the question.
Sige, while we're waiting for Miss Sandy and also Raijin on their questions, siguro may follow-up ako dun sa sa retention, no? Kasi definitely, historical data. So how do we manage that? Do we only destroy those old records na at the raw level, but we keep the aggregated?
Sorry, Josh, what was the question?
Yeah, about lang sa retention. So, 'di ba parang minsan definitely kailangan natin ng historical data.
Mhm.
So ang ide-destroy lang natin ba is the raw data pairing aggregates, like for example,
Analysis made from
yes,
it.
yes, yep.
If you still need the analysis and you still think na hindi siya obsolete, then definitely you can keep it. Pero yung raw data, as in yung information ng client, it has to be destroyed. But the analysis that came out of it, like example, yung number of people who bought the items in Uniqlo last month, 'di ba? So, okay lang naman kasi it's already has been aggregated. Anything na medyo statistical, um, okay lang na i-keep yun. Pero yung raw data nila, that it's, of course, no, not anymore. How does law enforcement know that you violated the law? Through audits. Or kapag may nagsumbong.
Yun ang laglag.
Yeah, oo. Pag nalaman nila na ginamit mo yung data nila sa hindi intended, 'di ba whenever you try to let them fill in a form, you will have the data privacy notice. So example, sinabi niyo lang siya na gagamitin niyo siya for marketing ng Uniqlo or kung anumang company yan. Tapos biglang ginamit niyo siya sa marketing ng isang bangko, ng credit card. So, those kind of things. Teka, iniisip ko yung sagot kay Miss Sandy. Teka ha. Iniisip ko kung ito ba yung nasa isip ko ngayon. Wait, let me just check this. Miss Sandy, ito ba yung parang sa how would I say it? I don't know if it's kasi ito ba yung parang currency switching that you're telling? Kasi if it's currency switching, I don't think that it's a data compliance, but it's more on the data standard. Tama ba? Parang ito ba yung yung sa mga forex rates? I'm trying to fill in this particular question. Meron pa bang ibang question? Teka ha.
So, while waiting for Miss Sandy, sabi ni Renz dito in response to Regine, one way is kaya meron tayong mga IT audits is sa company, that is their primary task to check if compliant tayo sa law. Correct? Yeah.
Yes, yes. Kasi yun nga, if you're not compliant with it. But anyway, data governance and data privacy officer is basically ano naman, separate things pa rin 'no?
So, sabi ni Miss Sandy here, assume that there are different subsidiaries and not everyone follows the standard. This results in missing data.
Hmm. I think, please correct me if I'm wrong, Miss Sandy 'no. So let's say, um, okay,
Okay, so
subsidiary.
just a follow up to that, the subsidiary insists on using Perl, then generating Google Sheets.
I think yung pagdating dito, if you have several people or several groups, like let's say you have the finance 'no, um, and then you have another team that they have to deal with, I believe dapat ano, um, may nag-o-own dun sa mga processes na
Correct.
'yan. Kasi kahit gaano kaganda yung pipeline mo, mali pa rin, eh. So, I think yung need mong fix diyan is not only on the code level, but to really identify which comes the priority, 'di ba? So, unang-una, I think sorry, I'm doing this blindly kasi I'm not really sure of, how I picture it 'no. So, there are always two details na madalas siguro nakakalimutan. First is yung store, yung rate, and then maybe not to recompute it. And then another one would be the reference table.
Ito, nag-respond din si Sir Mike. Um,
And sige.
omnipresent, Sir Mike. My advice is if kung recommended solution ng center is kulang, yung recommended solution is kulang, allowed that to
Mhm,
use whatever solves their problem, hindi dapat blocker. Yeah, makes sense kasi 'di ba minsan you have, a central parang company, tapos
mm,
meron kang mga subsidiaries or business units. And yun nga, iba-iba din yung process within those subunits, business units. So, yun, dun pumapasok nga rin yung standardization na dapat someone, or at least the mother company owns this process
or
and
at
has
least there's a
to standardize.
centralized.
Yeah,
Yeah, kasi dapat dito you treat the non-adoption as a diagnosis, not a violation, 'di ba?
right.
Dapat before you enforce it, find out why each subsidiary is not conforming. Kasi
Mm.
the causes may have, 'di ba, parang different fixes. So I think that's one.
And it's hard to make policies, or for example, in the case of pipelines, gumagawa ng special process for that certain BU kasi gusto lang nilang ganitong process nila, ayaw magalaw. So,
Yeah.
ayun.
Dapat
And
there should be
sorry, go ahead, Tina.
there should be some sort of governance council talaga wherein these subsidiaries are actually represented para yung mga standard nila gets negotiated rather than issued. So I guess that's one.
Yeah, I was just saying, I was just about to say that I think the real challenge in these cases is more on the implementation side, like being more proactive rather than reactive on. So parang when you experience getting these penalties or this losses, dun lang ma-realize na ano na kailangan pala yung implementation for on data privacy.
Mm. Actually mahirap nga yung ano, yung subsidiaries. Alam ko may kanya-kanya pa yang ano talaga, how do I say it? Parang may kanya-kanya silang governance council. I mean example, if you have the compliance, or the DPO team or the governance team 'no, they will have each subsidiary 'no, they will have each of those team tapos meron pa dun sa central office. gano'n.
Tapos paano iba yung policies nila, no?
Oo. Siyempre ano, kasi like sa conglomerate, 'di ba? Let's just take
Yeah.
SM as an example. 'Di ba sa SM may banking siya, may banks siya, meron siyang real estate, meron siyang development, mga gano'n. So definitely these are all subsidiaries, 'di ba, of one
Mm.
mother company. Meron din siyang education which is NU. So I guess you have different ways of treating each other's data of how to comply with all of them. Tapos, aside from that, if let's say si BDO gustong bigyan ng trabaho sa yung mga estudyante niya from NU, di ba? So, that's another treatment as well. Pero at the end of the day, dapat sila as subsidiary, they will have to report to the council dun sa mother company. Para at least if there would be some sort of centralization or the need for centralization, then they can all talk about it. Dun lang nila ma-identify talaga if they're doing this or they have or they're doing alam mo yun, parang they're limiting cost then as well.
Nice, nice. Dun
Yung
sa
hit ko ni Miss ano ha, ni Miss Sandy, I haven't really encountered this but magandang idea. Ayoko siya ma-encounter Miss Sandy. Yeah, oo tama. Data is personal kasi inipon nga naman yung customers na 'to, pinaghirapan ko 'to, ta's biglang hala, babaguhin, 'di ba? Ganun.
parang may hugot Sir Mike din dito, Data governance is important. It shows the data is a shared resource and everyone has a role and
Yeah.
responsible.
Sa
Yep, agree.
shared resource para makatipid talaga yung company. Kasi if you will really create data silos, magkakaroon kayo ng redundant and duplicate data and it will really consume your the process and the storage of your database
Yeah.
or data.
And integrity issues din, like there could be issues na bakit according to this report, galing kanila ganitong BU, ganito yung figures natin, bakit sa inyo ganun? So, yeah, definitely a challenging part nung having data silos. Nice. Okay. Feel free to ask more questions, everyone. We're also live on Facebook. Mukhang tahimik sila doon. Ito, ilang years po ba, ito, may nagtanong pala sa Facebook. Ilang years po ba pwede na dump yung mga lumang data?
Ilang years pwede
Yeah.
i-dump? Depende. Like, I think for BIR, requirement na 5 years. So, if you're dealing with taxes ata, at least 5 years yung records dapat. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure if it's 5 years or 10 years. So, I think
5%
it's
at
just
least.
5 years. Tapos, if you're doing some sort of predictive analytics, you have to at least use 10 years worth of data. Depende kung ano yung gusto mong i-predict. So, it really depends sa inyo. Pagka estudyante ka, di ba, if you're in the education department or in the school, you keep the data as long as you can. Kasi baka mamaya 60 years old, nanghihingi ulit ng report card. Di ba yung mga ganong bagay? So, I'm just stating na ito yung mga bagay na dapat alam natin or at least for our particular domain, we know. And tas ito, isa pa, is data that reflects performance. Data people make data visible. Pero imagine if ilang years na tinatago yung data kasi not performing well sila. Tapos ikaw yung nag-expose. It's not your fault, but your fault at the same time. Ayan. Actually, madami na ako na-encounter na ganyan. Mahirap yan mahirap yan labanan kasi they will think na you're doing something bad sa kanila, but actually, 'di ba, kunwari ang goal mo is to help them, pero ang lumalabas is dahil nga na-expose mo yung kanilang, not so good performance, ikaw yung napapasama. That's true. It happens.
Yeah.
I think importante dito yung executive sponsorship, guys. Kasi kung kayo ay junior data engineer or data lead, 'di ba? And wala kayong executive sponsor, parang madami kayo ditong medyo mababangga-bangga, gano'n. So, importante na yung executive sponsor niyo is really very supportive of what you wanted to achieve together.
Although at the very least siguro what the juniors and main developers siguro can do is implement these initial quote unquote na data quality checks tapos um, establish na yung initial lang na mga quote unquote din na ano na date na sources of truth. So at least 'di ba para when they start the governance framework may babato na rin sila kahit papaano. So, and yun, magkaroon mo ng findings could also minimize na lang din. So, yeah.
Agree.
Okay, any more questions, everyone?
Parang wala silang tanong.
Pero siguro guys, if you're someone na probably had maybe 2 or 3 years of experience, or maybe at least a year of experience in data engineering, there will be questions na data governance related. So, for example, bakit ganito yung data nyo? Bakit saan nakuhugot ang data? Bakit si ganito may ganito ring data tapos sa inyo meron din? Kayo sino yung papaniwalaan kung source? Ano yung pupull kong data? So, yung mga ganong scenarios. It's actually something that can be answered by data governance. So, and if you have those questions, it's actually good kasi you're on the right track, no? Kasi alam niyo na sa sarili niyo na may mga prosesong mali. Ayan. And it could something that you guys can also trigger na parang your manager na problematic yung ating mga data sources, pabago-bago sila ng format, pabago-bago sila ng definitions, yung metrics natin, every month nagbabago, yung mga ganong scenario. So, yeah, those are actually data gov concerns and yon something that you can also raise to someone na mas may tapang at tatag ng loob, no? Kasi yun nga, sabi din ng mga dati kong friends sa data gov na tao, kailangan din talaga daw ng tapang when it comes to data governance topics because it's the process that you are changing, eh.
Yes, tas ito may comment si Sir Mike, sabi niya, "If gusto niyo ng 6 digits, isa sa fastest is data governance." And I agree. Kasi alam niyo kung bakit? Pero 8 years ago, hindi pa masyadong saturated yung creation ng pipelines, 'di ba? Wala pang AI, hindi pa nagagawa ni Claude yung Terraform template, yung mga ganyan. Wala pang Claude actually. So, mano-mano siya talaga. But now with the rise of AI, 'di ba? Oo, medyo napapadali na yung work and dumadami na rin pati yung, data engineers who can do Python, who can do SQL, ganyan, et cetera. Pero ang walang pumapasok or walang hindi man hirap pasukin talaga na siguro field in data would be data governance. Kasi aside from mahal yung tools, mahal yung tools ano, mahirap siyang gawin kasi ngayon, very ano siya, I would say ano, very hard or yun nga parang ano kasi siya, eh, it's really a process, it's a habit na hirap baguhin but you need to.
True. And you also have to understand the business requirements, business needs, parang kukwestiyonin mo halos lahat.
Oo,
So,
tsaka batas at compliance. So if you want to be good at
true.
it, 'di ba? Data governance is the key.
Nice. Okay, I think that's all. Wala na bang hahabol na questions? Going once, twice, and okay, sige. So, there. Thank you so much, Nina, for sharing your expertise and to everyone who joined tonight. And if you enjoyed this session, don't forget to follow our Data Engineering Pilipinas channels and join our upcoming Data Masters event. So, nakita ko yung calendar, marami tayong upcoming this August and it's also interesting. May mga interesting topics din. And also, konting hapyaw na lang din that we also have AI study group na care of Danny. Vani. So she's gonna be hosting another round of AI study group sessions in the next month. So magaganda yung mga topics, guys. So watch out and stand by dun sa mga announcements. And if you guys want to also present your topic or you want to volunteer on different projects that we have, feel free to reach out sa aming mga moderators. Definitely nangangailangan kami ng mga volunteers, no? So, yeah, I think that would be all. So again, thank you so much, Nina, for sharing your talk with us. It's super helpful and super relevant na I hope that everyone had learned something from this session.
Thank you. And
Thanks,
guys,
everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
thank you.
Happy
Bye-bye.
weekend.
Add daw sana LinkedIn.